Hello, my name's Sally Mituch and I live at the old post office in Weybread. Today I'm going to assess a drainage scheme which has been proposed by Brown Chicken in regard to their 110 house development. The scheme's just been put in over the last week as an alternative to the SUDS system which has been rejected. However, I don't know whether this scheme is viable. What I'm going to do in this video is attempt to show you where the drainage goes and follow the route and highlight some of the issues. I'm not sure how clearly you can see the map, but Crown Chicken is currently here and they're planning to run the drainage over the road behind a lot of houses here. And then, so I think one of the issues with the design of this proposed drainage scheme is that they actually haven't walked it on the ground. They've just been looking at Google imagery and LIDAR maps, but as you can imagine, with this kind of thing, it's very important to get your feet on the ground. So coming up on our right-hand side now is the Crown slaughterhouse. It's also behind these houses here, and this I believe is where the drainage run will go out, so somewhere kind of along under this road or and to the left of this garden. So this part of the drainage scheme is on private land, so we can't really assess that. This is Mill Lane. This I believe is part of Mill Lane and it comes onto Stubbings Lane. And this is the camping site here. So the drainage run will go right behind their sort of open air property. So we are now we're on this bend. We're just going to start going up here now. I believe this is the beginning of Stubbings Lane. Well, Stubbings Lane is shown as a highway on the maps, but I don't think I'm going to be able to drive all the way down there.
Perfect.
Should I try and go a bit further?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let's keep going then. So just to remind you, we're at this point and we're about to enter the wooded track, and you might just like to have a look at the landscape around you so you can get your bearings.
So which way is the wooden track?
I think we can just start in the top here.
Okay, so the wooden track on the map is...
The wooded track is, we're just starting at this point, and the track is really sort of in two halves, if you like. So we're going to sort of do this section where we might encounter a few issues, and then we'll carry on. This part of the track seems to be more newly planted and more is not really so sunken as it is down the end here. So there are some sort of differences between them, and there's differences also in soil type. So remember, this is surface water drainage, and it's going to be running down this track. If you just take a low shot, you might be able to see further down the track and get some idea of the depth. I haven't got great light today, but anyway, let's start walking down it.
Cool, so that's the drainage, the ditch down there, yeah?
Well, whether they're using this, or something just out here, or whether they're going to be digging here, running it over the surface, I don't know, but you will see later on how water will run down parts of this, but also how it will cause issues with erosion.
Okay.
So there's some rather nice trees here. This very elegant hornbeam, and you'll might imagine it's perhaps been coppiced at some point. I'll just let you go ahead. Measure this tree
Okay.
and make a note of the size, because I think that some of the trees here may be very old, and I'm certainly interested if I think they might be more than 200 years old. So let's get a measurement. So this one is 11 foot 3.5. Note that we are starting to sort of descend into a slightly sunken track. We're just starting to dip below the surface of the surrounding soil, which is slightly higher on the western side than it is on the eastern side.
Gotcha.
This is an important feature as well, to note that there's dead wood laying around, which is absolutely fantastic for wildlife. Again, please make a note of the formation of the sides. So this bank is now slightly raised on the inside of the ditch, and again, if you look at, we're sinking further down, we're going further beneath the ground level. We're probably 1.5 meters, maybe 2 meters below the ground level right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now this is important.
Okay, yes. Now this is very important. So the ditch, which has been running alongside the field, is now coming into the actual Holloway itself.
Okay.
So the surface feels a little bit different now that the water channel is sort of fed into this. It doesn't feel as sort of light and fluffy and leaf littery. It feels a bit more clayey as well. And you really get the feeling now that you're dropping down into a sunken track. So on the side here, I suspect it's a good 5.5 feet down, I would imagine. And look at this amazing stall on this tree that it must have been coppiced. It's an ash, or it's a very old ash tree. Maybe it's grown out from a central trunk. It's quite astonishing. We're definitely, I can't see over the surrounding land now, so I reckon we're going to be about 6 foot down.
Sort of full arm's reach.
And you're very tall.
Yeah, that's about 8 feet in the air.
And again, some of these other interesting trees on the side here with the big horns. Beautiful hornbeam again. You'll see that the water would have been running down here because that ditch fed into it halfway down. And there's another ditch coming in from this side as well. Of course, that will add to the water burden. This is the older and even deeper end of the Holloway, where it seems to have older trees as well. So, really looking forward to this bit.
Whereabouts are we now on the map?
Oh yes, thank you. So we have been walking down Stubbings Lane, and we are parallel to this field boundary, and that's the ditch that we just looked at, and then the wooded area sort of carries on to this point, and then it becomes a greenway again. I should just add that I have asked for permission to be here from the landowner who owns all the land on this side, and he believes that the boundary between him and the neighbouring plot here and the neighbouring plot here, he believes it's in the middle of the track. So I think we're okay with our permissions.
Yeah, I think we better walk around that.
I reckon we can get through, wiggling through that way. Okay, the ground is actually feeling quite damp down here now. And there's quite a stony composition, lots of little sort of flints. I should imagine this gets pretty much scoured clean in heavy rainfall. And again, just note that we are lower again still. That's got to be 8 or 9 feet on that side, and not quite so low on this side. But you can see it sloping down. There's quite a strong gradient now in this part of the Holloway. The channel that's running through here, you can see like a sort of path made by the water. But again, it just gets slow from now on because the soil type changes as well. You can see here as well that this is sand. This is sand here, and we don't want to erode this away and expose the tree roots, because these are absolutely gorgeous trees. This is like a stream bed.
Yeah.
This is gravel. And again, the soil's even more sandy at this point. And look at this beautiful tree that's been coppiced. Nearly all of them seem to have some evidence of coppicing. This bit could be interesting. I'll go and have a look, see if I can get through.
I'm not getting through that.
No?
No way.
No, I think it is actually impossible. But there is a lovely big dead trunk in there. We'll just have to, I think, just nip round, nip up. I think I'll go for this bank, just nip up round here.
Cool.
Beyond this obstruction. Okay, I've made it. This is more.
About 20 feet, yeah, it's pretty.
Do you think it's about 20 feet?
I think it's a bit more than that.
Do you think so, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll come down.
Okay, we came down there.
It's still a bit not as high on this side as it is on the western side. It's a bit higher over there. And again, you can see this this channel that's been formed. Where I can see quite a lot of stone here, and it's cutting its way, wending its way down here. Observe that there's kind of a bowl shape cut out on this side, and it may correlate when you're looking at your own maps. You may be able to sort of see that in this wooded walk.
Okay.
It's absolutely extraordinary with the moss and the little sprouts coming off the side here, and the lean. I'm going to go underneath it. There you go, through. And look at this amazing tree. Now you can see how sandy the soil is here, and this is what the trees are rooted in at this at this end of the walk. They were rooted in sand. If you just have a look at these roots, so you can verify. Is that was a mushroom? The sandiness of the context.
Yeah.
I think I can crawl through that space there. True.
Okay, going through.
Okay, so the important thing to note is that this is still sort of draining down the Holloway. We are kind of beginning to approach the end of the Holloway now, but let's just keep going right to the very end, which is very important.
Okay.
There's all sorts of amazing lichens on that dead trunk. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It will glow at night, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Somehow or another.
Okay.
Because it looks like it's really ancient. It looks like, again, something might have died in the middle and it's kind of sprung up, or it's been coppiced. I don't really know, but that's
Oh wow.
Wow, really, look at this beauty. Wow. This is glorious, this tree, and this one, and its own friend. Okay. Okay, so I'm in the ditch. You can see the direction of flow of water from the deposition in the ditch. And here's the pipe under this bridge, which is bringing the water into the ditch. It's not really coming down the bank, and there is no channel down there either. So if we follow this pipe, you'll see a hedge which goes directly away from us with a ditch beside it, and it goes in the direction of Grange Farm on the first bend in Weybread. So this is where the water is coming from at this point. So we're at the bottom of the Holloway. We're on this track, which you'll see on the map. And when you look at the map, you'll actually see a track running through the Holloway and a track going slightly to one side of the Holloway. And that's this little track which goes to the top of this hill and stops there. Okay. So anyway, here's our ditch, which it doesn't seem to be that strongly related to the Holloway. And that follows along this field boundary and follows the route of this green track. And we're going to walk that now because the water that is coming down here, I'm sure you'd like to see where that's going at the moment. Yeah, so on foot we've covered this section down Stubbings Lane, went deep down into the Holloway, and we've popped out here. So we're going to walk down this track and look along the drainage route, along Water Lane.
Cool.
Okay, so here's the ditch that comes all the way down the field, and it tips out onto the very aptly named Water Lane. I think it used to be called Wash Lane. And then we can follow the water down the lane.
Which then takes it down there.
Yeah, that's the drain that takes it through one of the residents' gardens. There's a ditch in his garden that comes through the garden and then behind the back of his property.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's a big volume of water intended to come through this pipe, but let's see where it goes.
This is the resident. Right?
Hi. Well, as you can see, the ditch requires an annual clean out. It would get significantly worse, I assume, with all this extra water. So we only clear to the end of our property,
Uh-huh.
and then the farmer has never cleared that ditch, to my knowledge.
Well, this is the road level, but you'll notice that the house is slightly below the road level, so we definitely don't want any flooding around here.
Yes, so it just gets to be too much water for that pipe.
Oh, I see.
So already there's too much water there.
It's not done it yet. It only ever, the worst it's ever got to is to get to here. There'll be so much water coming down the road. that Clearly, the pipe's not getting it away fast enough because this is getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And in the 15 years I've lived here, it's never got beyond here.
Right.
But if they add to the water flow,
Yeah. It could well
one
do.
assumes that it would then back up into the garden.
Yeah. How would extra floodwater affect your
Sewage digester.
sewage digester?
And then the final settling tank. This overflows the middle tank because of the aeration, and so quite clear water runs out of a pipe which is currently covered by. When you get severe weather in the winter, which we get several times a winter, this level will rise, and on occasion it has risen enough to actually backflow into the settling tank.
Oh.
So once every year we come to have them gulped out, and they couldn't gulp it out because as fast as they were trying to suck it up, it was just filling back up
Oh.
from here.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that a greater water flow down here would make that situation worse and happen more often.
Yeah.
I would even worry about this actually overflowing into the garden, and then the garden is at a higher level than the house. So.
Got it. Right.
Okay, we're on this side now. That's the garden over there. Now this is the farmer's ditch. There's the pipe.
So the pipe passes under the road and comes out near where that gate is, behind the second telegraph pole. So we'll take a wander over there.
Okay.
Just behind where that road sign is, the bend, is that drain we just saw, and that comes across the road into this sort of hedge line, behind this hedge line along here, and alongside this garden. I have spoken to the residents, and they did think that with any more water that they would get flooding in their garden. The owner of the house is a farmer, so I expect he'll want to know. So I don't know if you can see just over the field here, there's Ocean Pit, and that's where this surface water is intended to be discharged, and we'll take a look at the Ocean Pit as well.
Is the water just there?
We're just going back to the car now, but we are on the outside of this sort of Holloway, and I'm actually level with the canopy of an oak tree, which is rather nice. Don't know if you can see the depth in there or not, but...
Okay, Sally, where are we at?
Oh no, I've just dropped it. It was 9 feet 3 inches.
Okay.
Yep, so yeah, this is the lower end of the Holloway, and this is the area that we pointed out when we're inside, the big sort of pan area, and then you can see the rest of the wooded walk along this harvested field here.
Cool. And that was the 9-foot tree just there, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Here's one of the affected properties. Let's find out what they think about this drainage scheme. So,
But this one stops here. This bit stops there.
Okay. So are you saying that the water isn't going to be flowing off in this direction?
No, it doesn't come there. It goes that way.
Right. I'm now at the eastern edge of the Ocean Pit, and straight ahead of me you can there's an island, and you can see there's a spit of trees, and this is where I believe the drainage pipe will come out. I'll show you on the map. If you can see, I've just walked. I'm just here, and I'm going to walk to the drainage outlet at the corner where the spit begins. Right. And straight ahead of me is the island. Nobody goes on it, so it belongs totally to these wild birds. And I'm just about at the corner of the spit, but already I can see something different on the water, and I think this might be telling us that we're near an inlet. Okay, right on the junction of the spit and going away from the lake, there's a line of willows, an alder, and then in this corner we've got the pair of pipes, which must be what's currently discharging into the lake. And these are the two pipes just down here. So in a minute I'm going to go to the other side of the lake because we'll look for the outflows, and also I want to establish that this lake, which is an old gravel pit, is totally not part of the watercourse, that is the River Waveney. So I just want to give you some sense of that, and I'll do that from the other side. So I think we can still see the corner of the spit. When I did speak to the fishing club that runs the lake, they did say already they have more trouble with algal bloom in the area where the inlets currently are. So I'm hoping that whatever happens, that it isn't going to be made worse. So I just want to point out that this is the lake. I'm at the other end now, on the other side, and then we've got a cow field, and more or less where the cows are gathered is the actual path of the River Waveney, and they don't get that much closer. Let's carry on and have a look. So the river is now where those straw bales and those big willows are, and there is a connection point here. There's a footbridge over a channel. And what actually happens when it rains is in the winter especially, and in the spring, the river goes over its banks and comes over this flood meadow. It covers the track that I've just come up that goes all along the northern edge of the ocean pit, or most of the half of it, and it flows from the river into the lake. And this is actually the biggest and most easy to observe method of outflow from the lake. But remember, the discharge pipes are kind of within a curved sort of lagoon, or behind a curved spit. And there's the island behind it. So you've got to wonder about the water circulation. My basic point is the ocean pit and the River Waveney are separate structures, and they are only connected when the river is in flood. This lake contains some amazing species, and down towards where I'm now looking on the other side, I've actually found fresh water mussels. If pollution did build up in the lake from surface water runoff, how could a lake of this scale be remediated? So a couple of things have been revealed while making this video. One is the uncertainty which way ditches flow, where the drains go, and that's just in the upper end of the village, and whether the drains actually flow at all. And then you've got the issue with the Holloway. Do we really want more surface water running down there? and what's going to happen to those magnificent trees in sandy soil lower down in that part of the Holloway. Can Wash Lane or Water Lane really accept more water? What about the housing down there? And should we really be taking any risks with these tremendous natural resources? So while this planning application is still open, or if it revives itself in some other form, I hope that this will be genuinely useful to the planners and the consultees and the residents, to help them understand the amazing natural assets that we have in Weybread. And although they might not be kind of widely recognised, they're certainly worth recognition, and they're definitely worth protecting for the future.